Hello.
How you going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
Here we are in Tasmania,
Yeah.
the home of Waters Whisky. This
Yep.
is your side hustle.
Yeah, got a bit of a whiskey on the side. So I teamed up with White Label Distillery here in Hobart to help me create Waters Whisky, and this is where it all happens.
Well, thanks for having us today. I'm looking forward to having a bit of a tour. But tell us a little bit more about how this whole thing came to life. Why whiskey, and where did this idea first come from?
Yeah, I've been thinking about things to do on the side when I'm away from racing, so I don't think about understeer and oversteer all the time. And I really enjoy whiskey and love it, and kind of thought, it'd be cool to do whiskey on the side, have my own label, and see what happens with it. And did a bit of research and ended up finding White Label here in Hobart, and for me it was all about trying to find a really good product. And Tasmania is obviously renowned for its amazing whiskey, so come down here, had a look through the facility, and it all started.
So tell us about the process and all the things that you've learnt on the way, because did you have any idea about this business or what it took to actually come up with an idea but then actually hold the bottle with your whiskey in your hand?
Yeah, there was it seemed really easy at the start when you think about it, but there's so many different elements to obviously creating a business and learning a completely different business with obviously the liquor industry and whiskey as well. So I've been really lucky to have a great distillery behind me, helping me with a great product. The branding stuff has been a lot of fun, bringing that to life. But yeah, it's been a lot of learning to make it.
So you're in your infancy in this business. Just tell me what the reaction's been like from everyone. Have you sold out? How many batches have you done? Where are you up to in all of that?
Yeah, it's been really cool. I obviously launched at Adelaide last year and sold out my first batch before Christmas, so that was really cool to see. So I brought out a new batch, which is around Grand Prix. And then I obviously had an amazing weekend at SMP and brought out a limited edition range. So 3 in total at the moment. So yeah, it's been good. I'm kind of got 2 things going on at the moment. I want to have like a normal range, which I can kind of push out to on-prem and into, bottle shops and things like that. And then try and do some limited edition stuff as well. So if I can finally get a Bathurst win or a championship, I might, bring out a limited edition or something like that.
So you can really see whiskey and racing sitting hand in hand together in your life?
I think so, yeah. If I'm winning races, I'm going to need whiskey to celebrate, I thought. So it's why I picked whiskey. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun to do on the side, just totally different from the racing.
And so how long is your whiskey aging for?
Yeah, so with whiskey, it depends on the barrel size. So a 60 litre will be anywhere from 3 to 5 years, 120s, 5 to 6, and obviously so on. So I put down a 300 litre barrel, which will be good for about 8 to 10 years, so it'll be a while away. But yeah, it's pretty cool to kind of learn all those things. Like when I first got into it, you didn't really know that, and you always think, the age, the longer it is, the better it is, but it's not always the case.
So you are now going to be a whiskey connoisseur. What are you looking for in your whiskey, and how have you, I guess, developed that part of it with the guys here at White Label? Yeah,
I reckon that was the most fun, to be honest. For me, it was all about picking one that's nice to drink, that's not going to blow your head off, which is why we decided to go with the port cask at 45%. So we should have a bottle laying around. Might have to try it.
All right, let's do it.
Sounds good.
Okay, so this is Waters Whisky.
That's it.
Tell me what it felt like when you held this in your hand for the very first time.
It was a bit weird, to be honest. Like, finally all the hard work had come off, and it was the end product. So, just literally just trying to get the logo was so hard. It was probably months to just finalise that. So with that, to the words, to the colours, like, it just took obviously a lot of time. So the end product, I'm super happy with.
Okay, can we have a taste?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you a whiskey fan though? That's the question.
Okay, so my experience with whiskey is limited, I'm not going to lie, but I love an education, so perhaps today's the day you convert me to a whiskey drinker.
Okay.
So talk me through what you're looking for when you do a whiskey tasting.
Well, I'm probably not the best one to be asking for that, but for me, it's about smelling it.
Yeah.
So the thing with this, it's out of a port cask, so it's quite sweet. You smell that?
Yeah, okay.
And then I just want you to taste it, and I want to see your reaction.
And so are you sipping it, or are you just like just a little sip?
Little sip, not too much. It is only 9 a.m, so you're doing good.
Somewhere.
It's 12 o'clock somewhere.
It's really smooth.
Smooth, not too harsh.
No, not too harsh.
And you can taste that sweet port.
But you get the lovely sort of fire.
Warm you up.
Warm your insides. This is the perfect drink for Tasmania, in fact.
That's what I reckon.
Yeah. Can we have another taste first?
We can. Let's do it.
Cheers. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So this is the barrel room. This is where all the magic happens. And this is one of your babies.
Yeah, all the magic happens in here over a lot of years. And yeah, this is my first barrel that I put down. So it'll be ready in about 10 years time.
Wow, and how many bottles do you get out of this one?
If we're doing half a litre bottles, it'll probably be about 600 bottles out of this one. I kind of wanted to be able to put something out to all my fan base to obviously celebrate together. If I got, a big moment, I guess I could probably do some of the low lights, but I'd probably have to try and find a real bad whiskey to do it with. But no, we'll just focus on the highlights.
And this has been an epic weekend for Cameron Waters, who makes it 3 from 3.
It's been a bit of a roller coaster so far this year. It started, I don't know that it gets better than what you were able to achieve at Sydney Motorsport Park. You clean swept the weekend, but since then it's been a little bumpy. What have been the biggest challenges to date?
Yeah, it was an amazing way to start the year for sure at SMP. Obviously my best weekend in my supercars career, to be able to do that whole weekend, how we did it, clean swept, was amazing. And I think we went to Grand Prix. We were still really fast in the races, just qualified poorly, but how we bounced back in the races, I was really proud of. And Telpo, it was all there. We had the pace, we had a few little things go wrong. Just need to iron out those little things. And I think as a team, we're in a really good position. Fast cars, I get along really well with Randall, and he's obviously coming into his own, getting better every round. So as a team, we just got to keep, working on our weaknesses. And, if we do have a bad weekend, it's not the end of the world. We just got to make sure we improve. And it's better to have those weekends now, earlier in the year, than, late in the year when it all's to play for.
So what does that look like for the weekend in Tasmania? It was a place that you had success at last year. Does anything translate, and how are you feeling, I guess, with the different compound tyres that we've been mixing it up with so far this season?
Yeah, I'm pumped to be back here in Tassie. Last year it was probably a bit of a turning point for us, and I managed to win the race on Sunday. We had a really fast car.
Tasmania on Sunday belongs to Cam Waters.
That was on the super soft tyre, so this weekend is also on that same tyre, which will be great. Obviously we can just rely heavily on kind of what we did last year, and also what we've learnt between last year and now. But this year it's so hard. There's so many good teams. Everyone stepped up. I think the different tyre compounds at New Zealand was really hard. But I think as a team, I think we're learning that and getting better. And I think we've got a really fast car on the super soft, which is obviously what we're racing on this weekend.
It is tight at the top. There's 111 points separating the top 6. There's 8 different teams inside the top 10. Can you remember a more competitive start to the season? And I mean, when you look at the quality of racing that we've had, sometimes we'll have a really great weekend and then maybe the races won't be as exciting, but every single race so far this season has delivered. Has it felt like that from your position?
Yeah, 100%. I don't think you can really pick a winner that easily anymore. 5 years ago, you'd probably pick 2 teams, maybe 3, and maybe 3 drivers that you know that's probably going to win the race. Where now, I think there's probably 8. So, there's all the teams are stepping up. I think Gen 3 is providing that, really. The cars are closer than ever. The new tyres been really good for the category, and it's been awesome to have all these really cool battles as well. And it's a massive credit to, I guess, Supercars, but also Motorsport Australia, Craig Baird, for letting us race a little bit more aggressive and a bit more angry, and putting on a show for all the fans.
And there is contact!
So what is going to be the difference for you this year? Because it seems like all the ingredients are there. It's about putting it together at the right times. But is it also about getting a bit more consistency in the repertoire for Tickford?
Yeah, I think we've probably been a little bit up and down this year, but it's not from a car pace point of view, which is kind of what we've struggled with in the past. So I think that's probably a box tick to some degree. We just need to iron out, the pit stops and make little mistakes, and make sure we're qualifying like we normally are, always up the front, which has been a little bit up and down. But this year it's all about just making no mistakes, being consistent, and being fast. And I think you got to get into the finals, but when you get to Adelaide, it's just whoever wins those races are going to obviously win the championship. So learning no mistakes.
What an absolute ripper of a race.
You've had side draft slipstream. It's got a bit of a ring to it for a Whisky batch, maybe?
Yeah, maybe. That sounds pretty good. So I better get to work and get some poles and some wins and do a limited edition range.
Well, we certainly hope that comes your way this weekend. Thank you for having us here to see Waters Whisky. Congratulations. Do I get to take a bottle with me? Is there a gift you've purchased today? Is that how it works?
I think you deserve a bottle, so yeah.
I'm a whiskey drinker now.
Make sure you pick a bottle and not a barrel though.
Okay, right, will do. I hope that we'll be spraying whiskey on the podium for you this weekend. Thanks, Cam.
Thank you.